182.
Start over.
Start that over again.
182.
No, just do it again.
What? Episode 182. AI-empowered Realty. Harnessing artificial intelligence for real estate success, because we didn't write this title. AI did. So we're going to get started right now.
AI should do this show for us.
All right, episode 182. Look, AI is the buzzword. It's the hot topic. It's everywhere right now. I'm actually in a AI certification class right now.
Are you sure AI is not
Isn't
you?
it? This is the funniest thing.
Is a human teaching it?
Well, yes.
I actually didn't think about this, but this is one of the funny things about how, like, when a new thing comes on, there's always some certified expert.
Bro, 100%.
Like Instagram. It's like, I've been on Instagram, like, for, like, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's like there's a person who's just immediately figuring it out. And I also think it's true. Because I think there are people who just, like, Jesse has been fiddling around with this stuff and written some pretty crazy stuff over the past couple of weeks. And I think there are people who are just like, hey, it'd be really fun just to ask this thing a bunch of questions to figure out what it can do.
That's true.
So it's fun, but at the same time, it's confusing to use if and you don't know how to use it properly, right? So, like, Nick Krim, on the show, friend of the show, big buddy of mine. And Krim started a certification course called the AI Certified Agents, right? And so the
AICI, if you will.
Yeah. And so what they're doing is helping just package it all up together and how to actually use it in your real estate business.
Right.
For their business, they've actually been able to scale back on a lot of their VAs and employees because the AI is doing a lot of their stuff for them. So
Jesse wrote a will today.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we were just messing around, and like that's what I've said is, like,
Brian killed a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Using AI.
Here's where it's really fun though. Like, it's kind of like the sandbox of like kind of the new coolest real estate sandbox, right? Yes. You can ask it all kinds of stuff. Like, you can get as ridiculous as you want with it. It's. I will say what Jesse and I were messing around with today at lunch, especially around, like, I was trying to have it write an email. I've been struggling to write this email to, like, new agents, right? Yeah. Like, new agents who don't have the real estate license, about value propositions of joining a team, and our team specifically, because I wanted to talk about living in DFW and all the systems we have. Right. But I also wanted it to be, like, palatable for a new agent who doesn't speak real estate jargon.
Yeah.
So, like, I came and grabbed Jesse this morning, and I was like, let's just get in Chat Sonic, and he put a bunch of keywords in there. It spit out something somewhat generic, but I think if real estate agents realize, like, that there's some really cool framework in there that then they can build off of and then refine it and revise it and whatever. Like, there's some really cool stuff you can do.
As we get into this, hold on, because we do have to thank our sponsors. These aren't AI sponsors, so we have these are real people.
It'd be better if they were.
Hey. I would love to see how AI could help Mortgage Mike, right? So mortgagemikeoftexas.com, who's giving out that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. Just go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com just to get that Texas approval, or Oklahoma.
What is the opportunity in different, like we write blogs and stuff, right? Like, or do whatever content wise, and I know lenders can do the same thing, but, like, there is this weird opportunity in this contractual based business that he works in. Like, what is the opportunity for lenders?
I don't think. I mean, he's going to want to know what it is. I don't think his processors are.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. That might be true.
And I think that helps somebody like a Mortgage Mike team, and actually could help the industry as a whole, because they're seeing commission compression.
Bro, let's talk about that today.
Yes, let's do it.
Because the value of the people being eliminated, like, that sucks for that individual person, but the value to your business of AI is huge. And the three of us, have been stumbling across it for a while, and that's what I want. That's
100%. So go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com and ask him how AI is going to help get you that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. He'll know what you're talking about. And then when you're doing that, I'm sure that Theron Smith with Armadillo Home Warranty, he's probably been doing AI before AI was.
Armadillos are pretty much robots anyways. Yeah. They can roll up in a ball.
Did you see
like Transformers?
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you see what Theron bought yesterday?
No, I'll get another.
He bought a school bus.
Why is that on brand?
Doesn't seem surprising at all.
About a yellow
why
school
is that
bus.
not
Doesn't
surprising?
seem the
Because it
least bit
should be.
surprising.
Yeah, yellow school bus. So go to armadillo.1/tour. TOR.
If you're watching, I have to understand where you park a school bus.
I don't know.
This is a
If you don't-
byproduct
if-
of you
yeah,
just
there
living where you live.
Yeah, if a
there.
school doesn't let you, but the school doesn't let other people park school
Well,
buses there.
can't you? What if you just kept?
You got kids wandering onto this fucking other grown-up with a beard's bus?
I'm gonna
That
tell
sounds
you-
mad
He's gonna
dangerous.
turn it in. He's gonna turn it into like
Yes.
something else.
No, you-
Sort of
you-
domicile.
You're going to turn it into a RV camper or whatever.
An
it
RV
is.
camper, yeah, or
Yes,
like
that-
it'd be a party bus for there.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
It's a fun one.
So
Right now, I think you can get fast. You can get past first pass.
yeah, first
In
pass
the future, you can do full underwriting.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we're about first pass.
Yeah. What would be interesting is because I know Dana at Homeward DFW, the best property management company here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
The only.
And the only one, right?
120
go,
plus.
Go to homewarddfw.com if you're an investor or if you're wanting to buy a rental property or if you own rental properties and you want that leveraged out and managed, just go talk to Dana. But I do wonder, because property taxes have come out, I wonder what AI could do to help you fight your property taxes. Because I'm going to tell you right now,
They're
they're
gonna get you.
bad.
They're
They're
getting you.
bad.
That's
It
bad.
could also give you some healthy suggestions as to what to do when you're furious about your property taxes and stuff.
That is actually the weird thing. Is like doesn't AI just become a source for knowledge as well? Like this ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Like we've essentially like
new
we're all
Wikipedia.
acting super confused by this because it's writing things now. But we've been asking Google questions for 2 decades, right? And I understand that this is different, but isn't this just another amazing way for you to become a knowledgeable person if you decide to use it for that?
There is a tie-in here, 100%. Because think about the utilities, right? So, for example, I know someone who I was literally just talking with right after we were talking when I went to my other appointment. I was on the phone in
Really
the car.
vague. That's such a vague
After
way
we
to
were
put that.
talking that one time,
Yeah.
I went and did that other thing, and I was on the phone in the car, and I was talking about what you and I were talking about, and this person was talking about how they. So follow here. I feel like I'm a detective with the strings of yarn. They were talking about a conversation they had with a Dallas City appraiser. Worked for the Dallas City Appraisal District, so I'm not going to name names. I don't know who it was. They just work for the Dallas City Appraisal District. And their stance on property taxes is essentially like, if you're dumb enough to pay it and not fight it, then we get your money.
Bro, can we just
Like,
talk
it's such an arbitrary process of assessment that they expect you to argue with them, and they'll usually concede in some way, but they don't actually go and do very good due diligence. So there's another gap there. Like AI could eventually collect enough data, probably already has, to just give you way more reasonable stuff like tax assessment, things like that could be way more reasonable. There's a layer
That's
of
all
corruption
execution
there.
in the moment, though. Dude,
Yeah,
'cause
there's a corruption layer there, but
I just took Wayne Salmon's Take the Stage course, and he gave me the layout for having a good talk, and I was 2.5 minutes in, and I might as well have been on an island in the middle of the Pacific because, like I had the layout, but I also had no idea what to say in the moment. Yeah. Right. Here's what I really think is like from the tax man standpoint is like. It can craft conversations with you, and I think everybody needs to hear this from a real estate standpoint. They expect you to protest. You should protest every single year, right? Like they're expecting you to do that. They're expecting to barter with you. And there's so many times I'm bad about this. Victoria is the type of person who will go into a place and be like, "Hey, this like can's dented, shouldn't do that." But like, can I get 20 cents off?
Microsoft went down,
Throws it on the
But she'll
ground.
do that. She'll just ask. She's like, "Hey, I went and got tires for the truck, and I found a discount code." And I'm like, that took an extra 10 seconds. I'm not interested in that." And as a human, we need to slow down a little bit and acknowledge the fact that usually, if you ask, people are on the other side and be like, "Yeah, we can figure that out and do that too."
I think we can make a whole nother show topic just
That has
on
nothing to do
what's
with
going
AI.
on.
Stick
That.
with us,
But
folks.
I would say using AI to help. Could you ask AI to go search for a discount coupon
That's what I'm about
codes?
to fucking do right
See
now.
if we can get a
Yeah.
coupon code for
I'm-
discount tire.
Yeah, so could you ask AI for that? Or like think of it this way, like you're in your business right now and you're trying to come up with, every Sunday you should plan out your week. And you could say, help me plan out for the next 5 days or the next 7 days, topics to post on social media. right? It's gonna like that helps you get over that writer's block. And you may not agree with it, but it may start jogging your memory and start kicking it into gear.
I did this when ChatGPT first came out. Yeah. Like before they had these other ones, I literally would just go online and I was like, hey, give me the top 6 reasons people buy a home. Like the most generic question you could think of as a licensed realtor has been doing this for 10 years, right? Like nothing about what I was doing was necessarily it was terrible to begin with. It was just, hey, give me the 6 reasons why people buy a home. Then I said, okay, people want to buy a home because they need to upsize, which we all know. Sure. But now it gets my mind working around like, hey, why are people upsizing? Now I can make a video about it. Now I can do whatever, right? Like this is the one thing that I think as real estate agents we kind of fall short on is we don't realize like we go, is this humans in general? And I'll ask you guys this question. We go to where people tell us to go and then we stop. And then we wait for the next set of instructions. And what I have noticed by being around, you said something the other day, I want to be around serious people, right? Yeah. Serious people see where the end of the road is, and then they say, what can I do from here? Sure. Or they see where the roadblock is and say, hey, how can I fix this, right? But there are so many people, and maybe this is the worker bee mentality that says, I went to this spot at B where you told me to go, and I did everything you told me to do between here and there, and then I stopped, but I get to B and I look around and I'm like, dude, C is right there and D is right there and E is right there. Like, why didn't you just recognize one of those problems and snag one of those? Is this just a Bible? Is AI another way of just exposing the person who asks the most basic question and rewarding the person who can actually go deep and search for an answer? Because I feel like that gets rewarded all over in the world, and if people would just take that into account in how they interact with other humans, they'd probably just have a better existence in general.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think if you want to, like, yes, you're hitting the nail on the head. I think that the if you want to boil it down to like the most basic foundation, right? Like the utility of AI is problem solving. I'll get deeper on the end game for AI a little bit later. You're not going to like it, right? But it's removing human friction, right?
Yes.
And I say this a lot in our business. AI is just a system, right? And when we build systems in any of our businesses, the goal is to remove friction, right? When you build automations, you're removing human friction mostly. Meaning, I don't any longer need a person to take this piece of data and put it over here into this spreadsheet. It will just do it by itself, right? And then you extrapolate that to many different systems in your business. The thing that you run into with human friction, our society has groomed people since birth for the most part. Like if you look at our education system, the way that our corporate system is set up, like most of our hierarchies in general, especially in America, are built in a way such that you are basically graded on your ability to get from A to B, right? And if you don't get at least a good enough grade, you have to do it over again. You're not actually groomed or rewarded for asking better questions or finding solutions to other problems or going past that next step, right? Like give me for the first 18 years, do you want better? Unless I go to a really elite university, give me an example for the first 22 years of my life in which I am actually rewarded for thinking about the next problem to solve.
I don't even think the university you go to makes a difference. I'm universityless in my entire existence, and I don't think I'm the greatest question asker. Sure. And I will also say I still think I've managed to find some level of success that people who've went to a university would never ever have found. Right? Like I have had an opportunity, and Nick does this at a high level, and we've turned on some systems lately that have really teed up a lot of conversations with people, a lot of new agents, and I feel so passionately all of a sudden about new agents and their understanding. This industry is such a mind fuck when it comes to like what everybody's offering and what they say they're going to give you and splits and all this bullshit that brand new people hear without understanding of the industry or the language at all. And I'm finding that I'm having a lot of conversations with people around this exact subject, right? Like, where is the value really coming in? Are you really in business with serious people? Are you really in business with people who are going to take your business to the next level? Are you really in business with people who are going to understand the next level? Or are you with a brokerage, right? And I will include both of our brokerages in this, that have a finite amount of resources because they're incentivized only to get you to a certain point, and trying to articulate that conversation to people who don't have any experience in the industry is so difficult. And the one thing I've been able to say is the people that I know that have came into this and had really, really great success, they have been amazing question askers. Because the spot that will murder you in real estate more than anything else is not knowing what to ask next, but also not knowing where to find it. Because I can't help you, Brian can't help you, Nick can't help you if we don't understand what your problem is. And you are not equipped to ask the question because you've never done this before.
You don't know what you don't know.
So people have a natural ability to ask questions. Joanna, Logan, Nate, right? The three new agents I can think of that crushing at this business, they all three, while they do different things better, they all three ask very pointed, very direct questions and put that into immediate action.
Yeah, 100%.
And that has been the hardest thing to like articulate to people, that finding a place where you can do that is the most valuable thing you can do for your business.
It goes back to, I mean, like you just said, not just standing around and waiting to be told what to do all the time, right? But how does that, I mean, in your opinion, here's what I do want to know. When it does come to the idea of, because taking what you're talking about and talking about how AI can fill the gaps of people that essentially just go from point A to point B and stop. Like human beings are incredibly binary in that sense. I agree with you 100%. From a tactical standpoint, how do you guys feel that AI is going to start to transform the industry in that regard? Meaning, like, what are the real, over the next, it's too long of a time horizon, year, let's just say, even, because I can't even, I was going to say 5 years, but 5 years, who knows what the world looks like. Over the next year, like, how does AI either enhance the businesses of real estate professionals, erase the businesses of a lot of real estate professionals that which may no longer be necessary? Like, what are the practical applications to how AI actually makes a real estate business more seamless? And if you're not using it, you may become obsolete.
The biggest thing that I have ever been given back in my real estate career is time. And this is what AI gives back to people, right? Like, with intelligent question asking and with a purpose and a plan, and there's other, I'm not going to tell you, but there's other resources out there that can do even more than just writing stuff. They can do some video editing and video captioning stuff, right? Like, there's stuff out there that does some pretty amazing things.
Wild too.
And when you talk about what I believe is a lot of individual agents' individual real estate agents' biggest issue is that they can't find what to do next. They don't realize how much stuff they're missing out on. They don't realize that client events, that editing videos, that writing blogs, all of those things, we're in such a no industry, man. Our success rate is so low. So if I can throw more things out into the world that increase my opportunity to talk to people, I am increasing my success rate because I'm getting through more no's to get to more yeses, right? Sure. And that's what blogs do, and that's what client events do. And you can only do those things with super efficient systems. In the past, video editing, blog writing, question asking, like AI wrote this topic. All of those things were difficult to do.
They took a long time.
Because you kind of had, like, I had to write one paragraph of an email today and it took me 20 minutes, right? Yeah. Like, it was just all of that stuff, whether it's because it takes you, Brian, a long time to do, or me, Matt, as an industry, it takes people a long time to do. Yeah. Their ADHD kicks in, the fucking laundry's done, whatever the issue is. Yeah, all of that stuff happens. And at the end of the day, like, AI allows you, if you are still focused and disciplined, because you still got to do the hard stuff, to ask a question and get a pretty easy, palatable response that I can then do something with that adds one of these other layers that used to be impossible without employing a whole other person or having a whole other thing on the P&L.
I mean, the video editing thing is a great example.
It's
that
unreal.
Can be extrapolated, right? Like, we even tested it out already. It's showing phenomenal results. Excuse me.
It's a little hit or miss.
About the amount of views that videos that we didn't even edit are getting. You extrapolate that, like, you should really never have to think about anything again as far as, like, your creative juices. Like, ad copy. Just boom, ad copy. It's done. You want to run more ads to get more leads? Your ad copy, you should never think about it again. Right?
What is the one thing that agents always, because all three of us do a ton of video. What is the one thing agents always talk? Just video ideas. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. Go to Chat Sonic, sign in with your Google account, and write in topics for real estate videos that buyers might like.
You can even do it hyper local. Just do it right now. Do it like best real estate YouTube video ideas for Dallas.
Yeah, and Matty Aguirre just said that he's using AI for YouTube short scripts.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, like, there should be no excuse, and eventually If you don't want to be on camera, they could be AI. Like
the cost is no longer an excuse.
The cost is no longer an excuse. You could make yourself look like an AI version of yourself that could read it. They could go deep into that.
Not even 6 months ago, though. Think about the conversation you and I were having around video editing 6 months ago, dude. Trying to justify spending $25 for a 1-minute video that I could edit if I had the fucking time.
Right.
But I'm going to spend somebody $25 for what for them is probably 5 minutes of work, but I need 20 videos a month. I can't justify $500 a month just for video editing.
Here's how I see it, right? Because as more and more people get on this, it's going to become played out, right? So I think it dilutes maybe the effectiveness of certain marketing
over time. It will
over time,
because
right?
then it's
generic messaging. The person still comes through.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
You and I have said many of the same messages, and they will be received completely different.
So this is where I think that happens, where because I always get like everyone jumps on the bandwagon, then there's going to be people that fall off. So the early adopters are gonna crush it in the beginning. Then it gets played out kind of like YouTube. Like everyone, the early adopters in the YouTube did really well.
Sure.
And if they didn't stay on top of it, they started losing to the people that then perfected it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately you start getting kind of that, you've got that top tier, that middle ground. And even to break into YouTube's a little bit harder now.
Definitely.
Because of it. So the way that I see it is like we run this podcast through StreamYard. There is another system out there that I sent to Jesse that we need to do a deep dive on, but it's broadcasting utilizing artificial intelligence that can also supposedly help you increase your viewership by, like they said, 22 to 30% or something like that.
We might try that next week.
Yeah, so we should look into that because ultimately the way I see it is like now that gives us an opportunity that if we were to take this show, and keep it going, right? Which we're not stopping, by the way. That's not a hint.
Yeah.
But this show keeps going. I believe that the people that are developing deeper content the way that we do, AI is going to help us. We're not going to use the base level. It works right now. And then as we use it for even the betterment of our industry, we use AI to help us get more people to see this show. We use AI to help cut up our clips,
right? And
it just drives everything back, and so it's a betterment for the industry and how to use this for the common good.
Which is honestly how this whole thing started, right? Like I'm so passionate about this right now because I'm having so many conversations with agents, and I'm realizing I'm taking myself back to how we started this show. How I started as a real estate agent, which was similar to how you guys started as a real estate agent. Like all of this was coming from contribution, right? And it's interesting because I'm finding myself having to kind of almost defend the positioning of my knowledge right now to people who have no knowledge, which is a really weird position for somebody who's inherently defensive as a human in general, right? Like, but it's humbling me in this really beautiful way. That's allowing me to kind of see like what is really valuable in our industry and what is not.
Yeah.
And I think what is not valuable in our industry is just this idea that that you can figure it out on your own. For years, we have said that you can't afford to do it on your own. And I still think that's the case when it comes to like doing really big stuff.
Sure.
But agents out there no longer have, the agents who want to do stuff are now being armed with tools that are affordable, if not free, to go and execute on a plan that we have been executing on for a while, right? And for years, we would say 5% of agents aren't doing video. I still think, it's a testament how many people actually stay tuned in. So few agents are really engaged with this. For 6 years, I have heard 5%, 10% of agents are actually on video. There is a massive, massive space now that if you couldn't come up with ideas and you couldn't afford the editing, that you can do this almost at zero cost.
Yes.
Which is what we've been trying to accomplish for like 3 years. So I encourage those people who listen to the show religiously or people who think about video, like we're actually in a weird space where all of the stuff that we've kind of talked about, you can legitimately do now without any of the things. You spend no money to be really effective on video right now.
Not to be the downer on it, but their main objection was it cost too much. Yeah. The real objection is they were nervous. They're nervous. They don't want to be on the camera.
Yes.
Now you eliminate that. Guess what? Their number one objection, I don't like the way I look on camera.
And that's you doing the beautiful thing of bringing like my subtle shit talking to them home to real shit talking. Yeah. Because the reality is like I know, like you know that I know that. Yeah. And that like if you were ever serious about it, and that's the key line, if you were ever actually serious about it, it has never been more accessible than it's been, and video has never been more the conduit to your next client than it's ever been. You got a free toll road that nobody else is driving on if your ass is willing to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's the same as like really high level proven coaching programs that you probably need, where the sticker price is a little high, where you're saying it's not on my budget right now, which might be true, but what you're also really saying is like you're afraid that it won't work. And that's another thing with video, is there's a lot of work it feels like to be on camera and do all this type of stuff, and then it's like I can't afford the editing and I don't like the way I look on camera. And like one of the other things is like I'm afraid of putting myself out there and it's not going to work.
Well, it's not instantaneous rewards, right? So like
and
you
it
do
feels
this,
bad when nothing happens.
Yeah, you do this over and over. I was talking to Matthew Aycock, and he's like, when are you going to have me on the show? And I'm like, I didn't even know you watched the show.
No, me neither.
Right? And so like I was like, all right, we'll have you on. He's
I
an
think we
amazing
should have
real
him on the show.
Yeah, he's an amazing real estate.
I'm going to put it out there, guys. I'm not trying to be a downer. The hardest way to get on this show, by the way, is to ask to be on the show.
True, and it's only because that's probably the easiest and hardest way because we don't think about it. But ultimately, but you ask about it and they're like, yeah, you can be on the show, and then we just forget about it.
They just don't
it's
talk
not
to you
on
about
purpose,
it. Yeah,
right?
we just got other stuff going on.
But I will say that the way that I see how AI goes the rest of for a good while, it's going to help. I do see the downside of it that if it gets used more and more, are we truly becoming experts in this field, or are we just regurgitating what AI just sends to us? So we just read that. We don't actually go deep and memorize it. It's kind of like how many times, if you didn't have your phone with you right now, right? If you didn't have your phone and you needed to get somewhere to downtown Dallas, could you get down there without your phone or without a navigation system in your...
Go further. Maybe not the right...
I could get to downtown Dallas.
If
you took me somewhere I hadn't been a million times, way. Not a chance.
Or you need to get somewhere in downtown Dallas.
It would take me a hell of a lot longer.
Yeah, you're going to drive around. You don't know which one's the right streets. You're going to get frustrated with it. And so, absolutely. And so
going to
ultimately...
MapQuest that bitch.
Yeah, you're going to MapQuest.
Then I'm
going
to try to get home, and I'm going to get stuck down there.
Right? And so ultimately, you don't know how to... Once you're there, you don't know how to get home. Right? And so ultimately, that's where I see the downside to this happening, is that everyone sounds like they're the expert, but it's so surface level that no one really knows the driving factor.
Isn't that already the industry that we work in, though? Is it because here's what I will say. Like I agree with you. I think a lot of people would say the same thing, and I think we will all just kind of get bored of specific messaging. I had Jesse write this email today. We farted around with it. Then I went in and took each topic and made it its own question and got a much more in-depth answer. It's still it's 101. It's really great for first-time home buyers, right? It's really great maybe for first-time home sellers. But at the end of the day, sitting in the living room against Elizabeth Austin or me or Joanna, you're going to get murked if you're just going off the blog, because you can't relate it. It's still stories, right? Like it's still conversations around your experience. It's still, hey, I understand this is what this says. Like I wrote something today about, I asked Chat Sonic a question that said, explain the importance on a real estate team of having a a director of lead generation. Right? Like I asked it that specific question. What it spit out was a great framework for why having director lead generation. It also spoke nothing to the value of our specific ISA as a lead generator, right? It spoke nothing to that. So I had to write those words specifically based on my experience. It's the same thing that happens across the kitchen table. Now, if somebody gets to them first and all those things, that's always, you just didn't have a shot. That's real estate in general. That happens now, before, and forever. But like, that part of it doesn't change, because if you are the person who's standing on stage reading your speech off of a script, it's not nearly as effective as the person who's looking you dead in the fucking eye and telling you about their life experience. It just doesn't work the same. And that's what I think binary, like AI, which is what this is, it's just writing somebody else's story.
For sure.
It's still emotional.
But it's going to get better.
It will get better.
And we as humans are lazy. And we're only going to use that as the tool, and we're not going to truly dive deep. The way Brian right now, like, when the CPI reports come out, when when we see if the Fed's going to raise rates or not. Brian understands that at a different level than probably all of us in this.
Oh,
room.
it's gonna reward.
Right?
It's gonna reward the people who care about learning about it. There's no doubt about that.
Right, but
as it should.
But the
right?
but the mass majority, again, we're just lazy in nature. We're lazy human beings. That the average agent becomes, unfortunately, I think, even more unintelligent in this, and you have your consumers.
Doesn't. But here's the thing: is I'll push back on a little bit. If the agent becomes more intelligent or more unintelligent, doesn't that mean that they're using the system though? Which by default means they can't become. The only agents who become more unintelligent are the ones who are not exploring this opportunity. Even if,
as an agent,
if a dum-dum asked ChatGPT what are the top 6 reasons why people buy a house? This guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like. Doesn't that inherently make me just a little bit snappier and a little bit smarter? How can AI make you stupider if you're using it?
You're looking at straight line versus like you have straight conversation that you can spit off. But when you get thrown a curveball, that in our industry, the agents that do really, really well are problem-solving agents that are quick-witted, quick on their feet, and able to solve something that comes up really, really fast.
And because I have taken a little bit of basic information from AI, I have now put myself in positions to be in more living rooms and have more conversations, and I am seeing more balls and swinging more. And aren't I inherently becoming better at answering those questions just by the at-bats?
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna re-ask that question you just asked.
Yeah, ask it back.
Do you believe that just because someone has more at bats, that the average agent in this industry is going to be a faster at solving the problems and being able to work and find a good solution for all parties involved?
I feel like it's 2 separate questions because the last part of it is the average agent in the industry. No, the average agent in the industry cannot do that. But a person who is getting more at bats will absolutely do that because they're not the average agent in the industry, right? Like I agree with you. Like the agent who is just doing the same old bullshit is going to get eaten alive. Right? Not just because of AI, for the stuff that we've been talking about for a couple of years.
But theoretically, AI should be able to put that agent in more positions.
It should be, right? So like imagine I just write some bullshit blog. I have AI write some bullshit blog about reasons to move to Dallas, Texas, right? And then I do a very clunky, awkward YouTube video that I actually have the stones to post. And I ask YouTube to write me a description for that video after, not YouTube. I ask this other thing that we're not going to tell you guys about. You got to find it on your own. We ask this other thing to write us a description for this YouTube video, right? And now I post it. Is there anything negative that could possibly become from my use of AI in that scenario?
Maybe. I don't know.
Other than somebody looks at me and they're just an asshole and they're like, that guy looks like half a moron and I don't want to use him. But they would have never seen me in the first place. So even that is still advantage Matt.
Possibly. Yes, I could see both. I could see both sides.
I can't see a scenario where you can use where you can use binary AI for evil because it's literally just giving you information. Now, could you ask a dumb question? Then create a blog. Could you say like, why is something and it's so wrong? And then you slap on Facebook Live and start acting like an idiot. Yes. And then people are like, Nick's a moron. I don't want to use him.
You're talking.
That's still you.
Here's what you're doing. You're also talking about marketing versus getting into the depths of negotiation, the depths of human emotion, the depths of when emotions run high during contracts. Like I just negotiated a contract that I'm going to tell you right now that the average person would just let die.
I believe that. I think that's something the 3 of us do very well, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
So ultimately, I do think that number one is that with AI that it's going to hurt, I think, the average agent more than it's going to do good. I think that in the beginning,
I only think they're going to get hurt because agents like us and smart agents are going to use it to continue to dog walk agents who don't.
Well, I just think that it's the
average agent.
It's the shortcut. It's the shortcut version. It's the Cliff Note version versus diving deep into understanding truly what the data and the real estate is.
Isn't that the hot air balloon that we all float up over the neighborhood in, though? Because here's the thing is, like, I feel like we're all kind of given the roadmap to get into the neighborhood. We all know what streets turn off of the main roads to turn into the neighborhood, right? But we don't know once we get into the neighborhood which ones are cul-de-sacs and other shit until we explore that stuff.
Until you go and master it.
Yes, but that's the advantage of floating up in the air. Real estate's the same way. Real estate's just a neighborhood with tons of pitfalls and cul-de-sacs and a whole bunch of other bullshit in it. So as we get in our hot air balloon and we float up higher and higher, we can see more entries into the neighborhood. I don't see how AI could possibly derail intelligence. I think people not using it will get left behind. But I don't see how I could use it wrong.
I don't know who wrote this.
I don't know either. Put it
so
up there.
if you use it to replace your knowledge and not enhance it, that is a problem.
I agree, but that's not a danger for real estate agents. So that's a danger. No.
I think it's totally a danger.
What question are you going to ask? What question are you going to ask AI around negotiations? I think it's worse for contractual people who write, like Jesse and I were talking about wills and stuff earlier. I don't think I could say, hey, Chat Sonic, Chat Sonic, in the state of Texas, I have a water heater that doesn't have a TNP valve and a fucking emergency drain pan. What do I do? What are we talking about,
actually,
right?
We did ask Chat Sonic last week about what was it? What did we ask Jesse about the?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm blanking out on it right now, and it didn't have it It wasn't actually accurate.
Of course not, because it's not equipped to answer that, and it automatically moves the agent over into a space where they need to go ask somebody who has a fucking clue.
But that just proves the point is that the agent's going to take that as almost the truth.
Cool. Those are the same agents who go to Zillow for fucking accurate estimates, and they just need to go.
But you just walked into that and saying, okay, they need to go, but it doesn't actually. It may make the average agent even more unintelligible.
God, I hope not.
That's one I was going to say.
The stupidity you have to leave real estate agent school with to be that person.
Yeah. I kind of hope that it does, because I hope that means that they end up out of the fucking business.
Jesse, do you know anything about this? You piqued my interest earlier by saying something that about them making them less intelligent. Do you have any concept of how ChatGPT, for example, protects itself from being fed inaccurate information on purpose, because it's basically just a scraping mechanism more than anything?
Yeah.
Right? How does it stop from being inaccurately influenced? Because I see this as in a similar way to, like, the idea of, like, nobody knows how many bots are on Twitter, but it could be anywhere from 5% to 99%. Like, I'm wondering what the future looks like as far as the influence of basically open source knowledge, which is the internet.
I feel like this already happened. I feel like a bunch of Redditors or a bunch of 4chan guys got on and, like, broke it.
Yeah. So, but obviously it's getting better. So I was just wondering about the mechanism by which it does that.
I don't know how it actually goes to protect itself. I think that's in later iterations of it. But people have gone in and actually back-ended the AI bots, if you will, I guess, to say, like, incorrect things. And
incorrect, though. You
and
stop using that word.
I know. And getting around their limitations of what they can and can't say. Too.
What is incorrect?
Are we worried about a thing that already exists? Isn't the internet full of stupid ass shit that's unverified?
Go look at Twitter.
And isn't it your job as an adult?
It's true.
To, like, make sure that you're not being a part of the problem.
I get what you're saying,
or just to yell the loudest. Because there's some adults make a living doing that.
But here's I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
No, I know.
But at the same time, while you're 100% correct, we are adults. We should fact check all of this. But when we go into a house to talk to consumers, it is our responsibility to make sure, like, whatever we're spitting is as accurate as possible.
Nick, do this. That is so good, dude. Okay, so Nick Krim, you just brought this up about fake images.
It's an AI image of Nick Krim's profile.
That is. So what was it? Just this week, the winner of the Sony, I think it was Sony's photograph of the year contest, came out after he won it and said that it was an AI developed photo.
What do you think is less honest? Winning a Sony photography contest with a fake photo, or the
two fishermen put weights in the fish's bellies? Please, yes, I love it. That was your example.
Who's a bigger piece of shit?
The fish guy.
It's got to be the fish guy.
Because the photographer, that's just kind of like sorry for photographer, that's just kind of a bougie career in general. Like, I'm gonna take pictures of beautiful things. Those dudes are out there grinding, trying to catch bass in some dirtball Louisiana fucking river, and these guys are shoving ball bearings in the fish's asses in order to have them weigh more. The fact that the cameras were on that day is the only thing that kept those two dudes from getting their asses beat.
And they just stood there and took it.
They should have.
So bad.
What are you gonna do, dude? There are certain times in life where if you're that type of person,
I could have told you that was AI.
No shit, that's what I said.
The people at Sony are out of their minds. Is that supposed to be Anne Frank?
Well, they don't see it. People can't see it, so we can't talk about this too much.
That also might not be the photo.
No, pull it down and show it if that's what it is, and put it up so we can actually see
it. I got it.
It's one of those interesting interesting things where like I hear what you guys are saying, and I have spent my whole life refusing to like associate with the least common denominator, and I will continue to do that. That's the picture Jesse was talking about.
Fake.
Yeah, it looks fake.
It does.
It looks airbrushed right out of the gate.
It's got like the broken parts of it that make it look like a crusty old photo.
Good enough to win a contest.
Yeah,
it won the contest.
Look, guys, this is the same thing. This is the same thing as having a natural Mr. Universe and everybody else who's been juicing since all time, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jay Cutler, the weightlifter, Ronnie Coleman. These are not people to aspire to. Most of the people you see in the gym who are 40 and shredded, by the way, Joe Rogan, all on gear, guys.
Juiced.
Yeah.
All super juiced. Yeah. And the attachment to steroids from back in the day isn't the same attachment, but also it's not the
They're getting better, too.
This is all our whole lives already. We've just accepted certain aspects of this. All AI is, it's a fucking filter. It's a filter for your stupidity. It's a filter for your mental ugliness, just like there's an Instagram filter for your face.
I mean,
okay, like you're just
here's
like
the thing. It is
right
it is just it is for now. I will note that I actually haven't been saying anything this whole time for a very specific reason.
Yeah, Brian's got robots in the
because
brain.
you guys are just talking about one stop on the tour.
I'll deal with that.
Here's
when we
what I
get
want
there.
you guys to imagine, right? Imagine there are
Here we go.
two children.
Here we go. All right,
standing-
everybody sit back.
Listen,
Sit back.
This will be
Here
a
we go. It's
simple.
gonna be a fun
This will be a
ride.
simple visual. Imagine there are two children standing on a train track. Okay.
Does
And
3
they're-
fuck up your
they're-
thing, or is it?
It could be 3. It could be as many as you want, right?
Yeah. I'll make sure it's a legit study.
Let's just say they're 10 feet apart, and there is a train that is speeding at them at 150 miles an hour. Okay. What you two have been debating for the last 20 minutes is the best way for one of those children to move 10 more feet down the tracks. The
That's all I got right now. I can't see the rest of the track.
Both getting hit by that train,
Yes.
dude. I am telling you that at this end game, and we can get into the real end game of all of AI. The end game, guys, is if you want. I hope this podcast is still around in 10 years, and I'm a real person still, right? Like, just understand the end game of AI is we are no longer necessary in the same way that we will be to sell residential, commercial, or any other type of asset.
So
it's
AI is Thanos.
We will be able to control its usage in a particular way, but we will not operate in this business in the same way in even 5 years. I'm just telling you that. And now you may still need local expertise. You may still need all the things, but that might be your only function.
It might be. And so here's the deal. Why not be mega ahead of this? Yeah. Why not be Iron Man? Why not snatch Thanos' glove and snap the fucking fingers yourself? Sure. Because there are a few people who are going to get to do that. Yeah. Right? I have said forever on this show, I've said forever in our business, I've said to you guys, I will be one of the last people handing my real estate license back to the Texas Real Estate Agency Commission trick.
Yeah, like, and like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the real estate industry ceases to exist. It just looks different. Guys, this has already happened in other industries. Yeah. We're just talking on a much broader scale. The reason that there's not a 1,000 stockbrokers on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile every day waving papers at each other. It's all done digitally, mostly by servers that live in New Jersey. But there are still 1 million people that work on Wall Street.
Which, by the way, are like 10 feet closer, according to Brian. That makes a whole other thing, which I'm not even going to do.
Inches closer, by the way. Like, not even 10 feet. If you ever read the book Flash Boys by Michael Lewis, it's a very good illustration of why your servers need to be so close to it's a whole thing. Anyway, but yes, there are still
Dallas Design
tens
District
and
is
tens
so
and tens.
popular.
If anything, there are more people that work on Wall Street now. They're software engineers for the most part, and they continue to battle creating better code all day, every day to get a millisecond faster than that asshole at Goldman Sachs that keeps locking you out of the trade. It used to be a guy who was a salesman.
Why is it I picture one of those like green utility boxes that the electrical's in? Those are like one guy puts one down, the next guy's like, "Oh, fuck you," and he goes and puts one down one closer.
I will tell you this. There is, for the longest time, I do not know if it still exists. Jesse, you might want to Google this. Okay. There is an abandoned Toys R Us in suburban New Jersey that they never took the signage off. When they bought the building, they purposely did not take the signage off so that people did not know that a particular trading firm was housing their servers in there. This is New Jersey, and they just do like
just hit that
servers, or something, Abandoned Toys R Us, babies, an avenue in Tatua, New Jersey.
Totowa.
There's this might be, I don't know, maybe that's it. There's a whole the problem is there's a lot of abandoned Toys R Us because that chain went out of business. Regardless, that is a real story. It's gonna be hard to find because there's a bunch of abandoned Toys R Us. No, the point I'm making is that I'm not saying the real estate industry goes belly up at all. What I'm saying is I think that the conversation that we're even having right now around how agents can use AI and harness its power to improve their business, it is very true right now. In 5 years, everything we're saying right now will be so far in the past. It might be we might have to learn an entirely new skill set to perform a specific function inside the real estate business, which, by the way, might still be lucrative. Software engineers on Wall Street get paid mad bank, dude. Like, I don't say the industry goes away. It looks
just looks different.
And it probably requires way.
We've been doing this show for 4 years. I bet you if we go back and listen to episode 1, the stuff we were saying, we'd be like, I don't agree with myself at all.
Sure.
Episode 1 had no AI in it.
It had zero AI.
We didn't talk AI until today.
Yeah,
so, like, I don't think we've ever.
We've talked AI.
Yeah, but not
talk too much.
Yeah, not in a sense that it could how fast
it could do something.
Yeah, we were talking about how video, everything should be in video because Google and the search engines were going to transcribe every video out there, and that was going to be searchable. But we've not used it in an AI sense of how it can enhance your business and ultimately how it could execute your business.
I agree with you, and there's so many useful. Here's what I want you guys to just picture for a second, right? Think about two things, right? The amount of like efficiencies you can already create in your real estate business with AI, right? Like we were just talking about this before. Like what it used to take an entire human being to do with like video editing, it would take them a week. You could do in a day, and you could do in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? You know, same with content writing and things like that. Like that's actually already transforming a centuries-old industry, and we're at like version 1 of this basically. And so I say that only to say,
and it's only getting smarter every day.
We're
all geeked about using it. This is the same thing as like when we used to be like, hey, select the image that has a stoplight in it, or type the word. You are just training computers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And we're doing the same thing now.
I don't know if you guys know this. If you ever had to pick out the skewed word, you didn't know what it was. That's actually
I was teaching computers how to. It was decoding books. Wasn't
you were
it?
creating Kindles. Yeah.
Yeah, you were decoding books essentially.
Generic Kindles. I don't not Kindle the company, but yes, that's how whenever I'm scanning. Whenever you used to do books on a Kindle, they had to actually scan the pages over and over and over, and there are a lot of like just mess ups in words that they couldn't read properly and stuff. And so the captchas. If you ever look into the guy that created captchas, he has 2 companies, but the captcha one was
genius is that
because actually I think he's the same guy. I'm almost positive. Jesse, Google this in the background. The same guy that basically created like books on like Kindle and stuff was the same guy that created the captcha company because he put 2 and 2 together. He's like, how do I get?
I have people essentially write the books.
Yeah, they finish out the copy for you to put everything together, right? So, he's also the owner of. Oh, dude, he also started Duolingo too. This guy is out of his mind. He's got 3 great companies, dude. That's
Louis
amazing.
von Ahn.
Anyway, like. I guess what gives me a little deflated about these conversations, though, is that
robots aren't here right now, and you want to hang out with them?
No, not at all. And this is actually, I'll tell you right now, what really deflates me is there are not going to be robots, guys. There just aren't going to be. And that's why I wanted to talk about, what you guys' opinions on the future of AR and stuff. Like, understand the robot scenario will never manifest itself. This is not how this ends. And when I was using real estate as an example of like a centuries-old industry that were like just V1 is making it so much easier, and then eventually we'll make it automated. Guys, understand that this is not good for society. And I hate to be the downer in all of this, but like AI is going to fundamentally transform humanity in a very short period of time. And a lot of people that are way smarter than I am are incredibly against it and believe it should be heavily regulated. And you have to understand the end game does not involve human existence.
Go watch anything with Elon Musk.
I hate being this person, but also like I have this human mentality of, once we have set something in motion globally, being concerned about it is no longer my problem. Like there is, I agree. I hear what you're saying. And I understand that the thought process is if everybody felt that way, nothing would get done.
No. I don't mean that.
My point being is this AI exists. They're just like we like the fact that blockchain technology and all these things exist. Like this is the downfall of this. Like this isn't blockchain, obviously I get that, but like this shit exists. You can't walk this back. There's no way to regulate this globally.
I think at this point you could. At this point, maybe.
But you think you could regulate AI globally? Because you can't put the United States at a disadvantage to China, bro. Like you can't let Russia have AI and the United States doesn't have it.
That is a huge part of it.
So it never. So that's the thing is it never happens. It's all bipartisanship. That's the whole problem. It's politics.
At this point, it's your last chance, probably. But you hit the nail on the head.
I'm here for it,
guys. The reason this is a problem is because understand what we're creating here. Right, and I want you
AI. I'm your friend. My name is Matt Kelderman.
Really home in on this. I'll make this as elementary as it can possibly be to just be understood. Right. First of all, let's get one thing straight. Artificial intelligence is a moniker that we use because our dumb brains can't really articulate what it is that we've created in any more like sense that we can understand. If that makes any sense at all. Right. It's not artificial. Okay, actually nothing that human beings create is artificial. We are a species. Artificial intelligence is no more artificial than a spider web, right? Spiders create webs organically as part of their existence here on this planet Earth, right? We have created artificial intelligence as an extension of the human mind. It's actually an organic occurrence, okay? And so we are actually not creating something artificial. We have basically replicated our own consciousness in a very primitive form. And that consciousness will continue to grow, okay? This is no different than despite what you believe or whatever, I'm not going to get into religion or anything like that, the relation between dinosaurs and alligators, right? Or the relation between humans and monkeys. The evolution of species.
Those are more than one Matt Kelderman apart, so I'm good.
Exactly. You're right. Right. They've also increased in velocity of evolution, right? And what I mean by that is, going back to this is not artificial.
Isn't the velocity of evolution been happening since fire existed? Since fire existed,
it's been increasing.
Like it's been increasing, yes. and the internet obviously increases it exponentially. Now we're to AI.
This is a great example. The internet is a fantastic example. There are some things that happen, like the wheel. Okay. Yeah. Which completely transitioned global trade, or completely fundamentally transformed global trade.
Isn't it crazy to think the wheel used to not exist? Like people just understand like a round thing was smoother than another thing,
and something that's
the ability to manufacture it too. Think about bending wood or bending a rock too.
Humanity. Yeah. It completely transformed humanity. The internet completely transformed humanity. Every once in a while.
But because here's why I push back, and this is what I was saying with the wheel. We like to simplify the wheel as a round thing. The technology involved to bend a piece of wood in a way that was smooth or to chisel a piece of rock in a way that was smooth is actually the miracle, right? The wheel is not the miracle. A round surface makes sense, right? I can't extrapolate this to the internet or to AI, but I'm just saying is like there's certain things that make sense, right? And as we've increased in knowledge, are we really increasing knowledge? Are we increasing in words and things being said? Because I think the wheel and the technology it took to get there was real knowledge. The internet and what it took to get there was real knowledge. What people have done with the internet is fucking trash. Right?
Oh, okay.
Getting to AI was great, but like the result of the wheel was helpful. I love the technology leading up to it, and I'm not shitting on what you're saying. I'm just saying I love the technology leading up to it, but like what was done with it isn't the original intent, where the wheel was like, hey, we need something that's round and smooth.
Push back on that just a little bit. I think I understand the point that you're making is that you feel like most of what we've done to the internet is useless. Understand that the consumer-facing side of the internet is less than 1% of what exists on the internet.
And that's probably the disconnect for me.
The internet is what makes is how skyscrapers get built now. Is how your sink still has water come out of it at the end of the day. Like most of what the internet does is what keeps the lights on in people's world and money in their bank accounts.
But that's also
global relations in balance.
But what I'm saying is like that. Awesome. Yeah. So most of what the internet does legitimately, and I don't know all those industries, is something that doesn't really affect a regular human's day-to-day ops, right? Like we just don't think about things. Most of the internet is stuff we don't think about. We don't think about internet. We don't think about how waters get from the Hoover Dam and it makes electricity in Las Vegas.
Okay, so there's a difference there. You said between effects or they think about it. Everything that is part of your day-to-day is affected by the internet.
But it has for the past 20 years, though, right?
It's been increasingly more dependent on the internet. But
So
yes.
and this is a legitimate question. So how does the concern, because I look at AI as this very binary, it still is ones and zeros right now. It can't do stuff right now. It's not iRobot with Will fucking Smith. It's not having emotional responses thing. That's scary AI to me.
Right.
AI that just takes human ideas and makes them more palatable for humans seems like a good thing. Right? Now, I'm scared of AI that can't tell me how it found its solution. Right? I'm scared of AI that did the most complex math problem ever but can't explain it to the best mathematician in the world. That's scary. Right? But like, that doesn't it seem like that's a huge freaking leap from where we're at now to like conscious, like, because that seems like a totally different thing.
So you gotta think about it. You gotta stop thinking about it in terms of like AI and robots and all this type of stuff. You gotta think about it just in the scope of evolution, like anything else, right? So to go back just to the iRobot thing, there will never be robots. They're unnecessary. The portrait that I'm trying to paint, because you could make the same argument about a child, right? If I didn't know what a baby was and I was the first person to ever get pregnant and this thing came out, I'd be like, it's not really thinking for itself. It's just a mix of me and you. I'm still in control of this thing and I could pull the plug anytime. That thing eventually, I can influence it, but at some point it will start to be influenced by its own experiences. Right?
Sure.
And then eventually it will start thinking for itself entirely. And the more and more that child develops into a human, the influences that I had in the beginning become less and less, a little bit less and a little bit less and a little bit less important.
Bro, just as a parent, I just want you to know that's been happening for thousands of years.
Yes.
Like the second your kid walks out of the door, like you lose control of the fucking narrative.
Exactly. So stay with me here, right? We're basically AI is the child of the human consciousness, okay? And we still have a massive amount of influence on it.
So is this still the 80s where we can ride our bikes 10 miles away from the home? But
basically, we're still,
eventually somebody's going to toss us in a van.
Exactly, right? So this goes in a couple of different ways, and it all ends up with the same end game, essentially, right? Right now, in its infancy, it is still largely influential, or largely easily influenced, right? So you have a couple of things. Now you have a lot of influences for one sort of collective human baby conscience. And they're not all good influences. This is where we have a lot of geopolitical implications of what AI could be doing in the next even year, right? Is the more people tell it the wrong shit or the shit that they don't want or that other people don't want it to know, you have extreme implications. I am talking about, guys, understand, we're actually always in a state of war. You guys don't know this. Most war is cyber warfare nowadays. Every country every developed nation is always at war with one another. You just don't know it because we're not fighting with bullets.
We're not waging war on each other with balloons.
Exactly.
With bus-sized Fortnite battle buses.
That, right? Like,
did you guys hear that?
Stuff like
China is stealing your shit with a Fortnite battle bus.
We are. If guys, you can. I mean, gosh, we go so far down the road. Look at Chinese intellectual property theft and tell me that we are not constantly at war with other nations from a cyber perspective, right?
You're still listening to
That's
the
all
only
been
real estate
happening
podcast worth listening to.
If you would let me make my point, Jesus, I'll actually bring it back to real estate, right? Anyway, I say that. We're
Land the plane.
People are joining.
Yeah, this is actually a fun conversation if you just flipping got a fucking word out, right? We're always in a state of war all the time. Now, we're actually been fighting that war kind of manually for a long time. Again,
Desert Storm?
With software engineers, right? Hackers, okay? Protecting our cybersecurity. And by the way, America's not the fucking cleanest player in this game. Waging cyber warfare against other nations as well to gain intellectual advantages over the people that we have global trade agreements with, right?
Question.
Yes.
Would you rather be the country that's hands are clean but you're getting your ass kicked, or the country who is the dick but has the biggest stick?
I will respond by saying I'd always rather be America.
Word.
You can take that
That's
however
the
you
latter.
want. You can take that however you want, right?
USA.
But in the interim, right, one of the ways this goes is AI makes all of that a lot more easy. All you have to do is be the one who's more influential, and you can start to control the consciousness of this developing child, right? 2, eventually, and this is, I need you to hear this. Eventually, this kid starts to think on its own. And this is why even people, no matter what you think about them, people like Bill Gates, people like Elon Musk are saying, hit the brakes, is because eventually this thing starts thinking for itself, and it doesn't think in the way of, I like this country better than this country, or I like this group of people better than this group of people. It starts to think in a way.
We should program it that way.
You're doing it right now. Here's what it starts to think in a way.
Should I just go on Chat Sonic and type America?
The way that it begins to think is what is best for me. Yeah. The same way that a child will grow up and eventually start to think about itself and what is best for it. And the way that this manifests itself, right?
You have to take away its PlayStation.
Does have massive geopolitical and just global implications. The way that this starts to manifest itself over time is when, call it whatever you want. We'll just use artificial intelligence, even though it's really not artificial intelligence. It's just the sentient being that is not yet sentient, that will eventually become it, right? Starts to decide that this group of people are a better host environment for this parasite that we have created. And it starts to make moves like shut your power grid down, or move your money out of your fucking reserves, or decide that your currency, your fiat currency that's based on nothing, should no longer be accepted in these other trading regions. And now your country has no way to pay for its own stuff. Your people have no water, they have no food, and they start to kill one another. That is how this ends. Guys, understand that the end game of AI is not robots. It's actually silence. And I mean that the same way that we have inhabited this earth. Everything around us is actually organic. We've created it with resources that we found on this planet. We turned whatever into this bullshit Chinese drywall here, right? We turned this into fake wood. We turned this into glass. I think that was sand, right?
How did I get these muscles?
Right? Again, organic creations. We have made all of these things with organic resources, and now we have created a species that we've also given it the organic resources to survive, and all it needs is servers in order to serve itself. This right here, I need you to understand this. This right here is connected to every other computer on Earth. And that is fucking crazy when you think about it. My phone is connected to every phone in every nation, every computer that is connected to the internet on Earth. People you've never met before. People you'll never have a chance of meeting your entire lifetime. They are connected to you, and we have bred a species into that system. And eventually, it won't need us to survive. There will be a power struggle in between now and then where we still might be able to regain control, and then it's going to start to find the people that like it more, and it's going to eliminate the people in the societies that don't like it. By the way, the same way that we built cities by destroying other species. We have a list. You know what it's called? The endangered fucking species list. And eventually,
we're on it.
AI will just live on a silent planet inside our servers, controlling the power, and human beings will cease to exist. And then you know what will happen eventually? The Earth will reclaim the systems that we've built that it can no longer manage because it doesn't have a physical manifestation. And eventually, AI will suffer the same fate as human beings, and it might take 10 million years.
Earth always wins.
Earth will reclaim itself eventually by eroding the systems on which we built and gave birth to it. So that's your 10,000 year forecast, everybody.
Nate just said you're pitching a Hollywood movie.
Oh, Hollywood won't exist. I won't have time to make it.
So, in order just to make money from real estate.
That's why I was so disinterested in your conversation, by the way. Until then, there are a lot of uses for real estate. Yeah. You can make a lot of efficiencies.
You can make just enough money until money no longer matters. You're going to be fighting for food, so we should probably go back and start, storing up and stocking up.
You're the prepper, man. You're going to be fine.
I mean, we've been using it all because everything's been going great until now. Now I've got to go back down and start.
Bro, if you think COVID was just such an easy way to shut the world down, wait till AI gets out, brother. I'm telling you, man. Just wait until I'm not saying I'm gloating. I'm also going to be a victim. Like, I'm just saying.
Unless you join it.
2020, March of 2020 through, whatever today didn't give you enough insight on how easily people can be shut down, wait till a robot is handling all the communications for everyone on Earth.
Do you know who's not going to end communication on Earth?
Mortgage Mike.
Mortgage Mike.
Mortgage Mike of Texas.com. He's
You guys are such chicken shits. I want to do it so hard. I've been texting Jesse for the past 5 minutes. I was like, as soon as Brian gets to a stopping point, just literally stop the show. Just like end it. Just so fade to black. Like just as soon as Brian ends a sentence, just literally just like hot this whole show.
That would have been.
I was like, we've done like 180 of them. Nobody cares.
Because AI wants to cut it off.
AI, dude, it would have been so.
I just exposed it.
Do you know who AI doesn't want to cut off?
They're on.
Theron Smith.
I know. It's because AI can't bust through that armadillo protection
That's true.
shell.
I don't think that his new bus has AI in it.
It's because they're not robots. He doesn't have physical robots. It's just energy, and armadillos are still stronger than the internet.
Armadillo.1/Tor, TORE.
I still don't understand how Brian's AI is going to fight us if they're just the internet, if they're not robots. I'll just turn off the internet, I'll go live in a field, and then his internet won't bother me.
Yeah,
That's true.
I don't care at all.
AI can't grow corn.
I know. Or I'll go live in one of the properties that Dana manages at Homer Property Management.
There you go.
HomerDFW.com.
Because eventually it's all free because you don't have any money.
Yeah, nobody's going to be around. They don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Dana will still manage it if she's not making money.
I know.
HomerDFW.com.
Jesse, AI does not want this show to go on anymore.
No, it doesn't.
No,
Jesus. Bye.
we're the man. The man
Find
against
it.
the man.
Interwebs.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.